because they always say when you move out to LA, the first year or two, you know what I'm saying, you're either going to make it or you're not.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So we did. And I told myself I was going to. I tell you, I used to look and I used to see some of these models like Nathan Owens and these other guys that were doing all the Gap and all the Old Navy and like all the Calvin Kleins and everything. And I used to be like, I can do that.
That's fire. That's right.
I can do that.
That's the energy.
That should be me.
That's the energy.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's the energy.
And I get that from sports. You know what I'm saying? I never wanted to play with people that were as good as me. I always wanted to play with people that were better than me.
Facts.
Because that made me better.
100%.
So seeing those guys booking all these jobs and getting these campaigns, I'd literally be, once I finally got a car out here, I'd be on the phone with my mom and I'd be like, Ma, I see these guys that are doing it. To their credit, they're good at what they do and they are good looking. Good looks. But I'm not, I'm gonna tell you what, I'm damn good looking too. And I know that I can do it. And I did it and it took for me to practice and get in repetitions. And that was something else that I didn't know, especially as an independent contractor. When you want to be seen a certain way, you got to put yourself out there in a certain way.
And that's, you got to position yourself.
Exactly.
That's important.
Exactly. So my cousin and I just started shooting and because he wanted to be a photographer at the time. And our stuff that we first came out with was garbage. It was so bad, but it was practice. It was reps. It was reps. And then after a while, I built up a portfolio only of his photos. Took it to my agencies, and next thing I knew, I was booking.
That's fire, though.
Booking.
But that's a LA story.
I have this conversation with people sometimes that either want to get into modeling or want to transition from a regular 9-to-5 to, you know, being an independent contractor. And I think that a lot of people don't realize exactly how much work it requires of you because they think that once you sign to an agency, your work is done. But you forget that your agency takes between 10 to 20%? You take between 90 and 80%. So who really should be doing the most work?
The 90-80.
Exactly.
But that's, I don't know. That's life though. Like people don't realize you get what you put in.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so like, and when you put that together in that frame of work, that's not just modeling, that's life.
Absolutely.
You know, like my perspective has always been that same way. Like I say I grew up in a single mama household and like around the way, would you get what you put in?
Yeah.
So like I remember I was growing up, you see the way I was living and stuff, it was tough. So you had to keep, again, you had to lock in and
Absolutely.
keep the blinders on to not fall.
Southeast DC. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not to fall. It's like, I guess the equivalent out here would be like Compton or Rosecrans. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you get caught up quick. And next thing you know, you out the way. Like, I remember it was this dude in my neighborhood named Hollywood. And he was light-skinned. He looked like Jello.
Okay.
He looked like that.
Okay.
He like one of the Ball brothers. You know, he had the wavy hair, I'll be sure, with the hair all wavy. Bending corners, whoa.
Okay.
Whoa. And I'm not making light of him, so I was about to say something slick.
Oh, no.
I'm not, because people, I gotta go home.
Good looks.
I gotta make it home. I gotta be around the way. And I remember he got shot outside my window.
Damn.
And I was like, I had to be like 10 or 11. And I remember I heard him running past my window. And I knew who it was because they screamed his name.
Okay.
And you just heard, and you heard pop, 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 pop. Then the next thing you know, I just get I'm in the bed, I just put covers on my head, like that's gonna protect me.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I remember the next day, somebody went to go take out the trash, and you just hear screaming. And then you hear a bunch of people going around the corner, going around the back, going around back, and they just got his body, and he got shot in the head.
Jeez.
And it's like, he was, like, they called him Hollywood around the way. And when I was growing up, anybody who's Hollywood is supposed to be the one that's gonna make it. Like, they're popular.
Yeah.
You know, they got all the skills. So he played basketball, football, baseball, was smart, good looking. Girls loved him. It was crazy. He had all the things, and it was over. And that's why I was like, you can't get caught up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You cannot get caught up.
Absolutely.
Cannot get caught up.
Absolutely.